Good morning, everyone. Deacon Ed McCormick here in another installment in our series, Finding God in All Things. And today and tomorrow's videos are going to be more specifically finding Christ, finding the risen Jesus in all things. And I want to turn your attention to a passage from chapter 20 of John's Gospel, verse 19 to 23. Many of you know it. The disciples are locked in the upper room, terrified that they will soon be arrested by the Romans and executed. And into the midst of that room appears the risen Jesus in a transformed body. And he says to them, Shalom, peace. He's announcing the age of peace, as his very presence announces that he's risen from the dead. And then he breathes on them and says, receive the Holy Spirit. He announces peace again and then sends them out to forgive, to release sins. And their response is one of joy and excitement. They're stunned by his presence. And they go out and begin to spread the gospel that Jesus has been raised from the dead and God's new creation has dawned. Now, this scene is packed with all kinds of images, but I want to draw your attention to one. And it's Jesus breathing on them. Jesus breathes on them the way Yahweh breathes on mud person in Genesis chapter 2, when God breathes into Adam and he becomes a living being. By Jesus breathing on his disciples, he is recreating all things. Jesus is beginning God's new creation, a second creation, a second Big Bang, in which all things are being recreated and renewed through Jesus. And this is how I want you to begin to find the risen Christ at work in your life. Through the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. This Holy Spirit's been poured out onto you and into every Christian community. And that Spirit is drawing us into him and into the life he shares with God. He's not drawing us to heaven, as some people think, but drawing us and all of creation into God's new creation. And the Spirit is the atmospheric condition of the new creation. The Spirit is the atmosphere within the church community that makes it a Christian community united to Jesus. And the Spirit dwells within us and between us. And one of the key signs that Christ is at work in your life is that you desire for something more. You long for a better life. You long for a deeper faith, greater hope, greater love. And that you start to notice the gifts of the Spirit start emerging in your relationships. All of a sudden, you find that you're able to forgive. You find that you're compassionate, a little more loving, a little more gentle. You're able to let go of things. New ways of relating to people, to friends and family, start to emerge within your life and within other people's lives and between them. This is a concrete way in which you can notice how the risen Jesus, through the Spirit, is drawing you to become a new creation. Because that's really what's happening here. The Lord wants to renew your heart and mind, to renew your relationships. And you may notice some signs of this. Don't think this is simply maturity. Because lots of older people, mature in age, have not let go of all those distorted ways of behaving and have not said yes to the draw of the Spirit to become a new creation. So when you do notice it, when you notice that people and relationships that you have, there's a deep connection, the two of you, the three of you bond together even though you haven't seen each other for a while. That's the Holy Spirit. When you notice that there's a gentleness and a kindness and a generosity between and among you, that's the Holy Spirit. And the main place this occurs, the main place you're going to notice the risen Jesus drawing you through the Spirit into the new creation is the church, is the Christian community. That's why I'm standing behind this church here today. In the Christian community, both in the domestic church, in your home, and in the gathered community, those communities are being drawn into God's new creation. And that's what the sacraments are. All the sacraments are concrete ways that give expression to the presence of Christ and the Spirit, drawing us into this new creation, causing us to become this new creation. I'll see you in the next video.